David, with the GIPF's view, can you share what the GIPF's views are on the continent's investment climate for pension funds? And how have your African investments performed? And then what lessons have you learnt as part of this journey?
Thank you, and good morning. And it's very nice to be here again. Hubert Danso, thank you very much for organizing this one again. And honorable ministers and distinguished invited guests, fellow panelists. Yes, perhaps just to give a setting, the Government Institution Pension Fund in Namibia is focused on civil servants and those entities that are related to government, including regional governments as well as local authorities, some of them. First of all, it's a defined benefit fund, one of the few, together with our brothers from ESCOM Pension Fund. We are regulated by the non-banking financial regulator in Namibia called NAMFISA. And we have been experiencing some phenomenal growth. During the past 5 years, we have experienced double-digit, plus minus 15%. But during the past year, it has been a little bit tougher. On average, year on year, up to March, we experienced about 8.5%. This year, it has been a little bit gloomy. We hope it will pick up. It started off on a very volatile basis. Pension funds, considering that we are invested globally, we have 35% mandated to be in Namibia, as was highlighted earlier, and 5% in Africa, and 27% in South Africa, and the rest is global. So in that context, what happens in South Africa, what happens in the world, what happens in Africa affects the performance of our fund. But nonetheless, we have experienced those positive growths. We currently stand at about US dollars 7.7%, just a little bit over 100 billion rand, or Namibian dollars. How have we experienced the situation in Africa? It has been largely positive. We are invested in both listed as well as unlisted segments. And we have been going through well-established investment managers, including Avraj and some others who are, I don't want to advertise them here, but they can speak for themselves. They might be in this room. It has been a fairly positive experience. There are challenges, but you need to pick the manager that understands the market very well. As was highlighted, I can't add more on that, it's all about specifics, the merits of a case, and the manner in which you invest. We, in Namibia, have started to focus on, to give greater emphasis on infrastructure. And in that regard, we have been doing, in the context of growing cities, urbanization is a factor, and it brings opportunities. Whereas some may look at it with that it's a crisis, I think it's an opportunity. And we have invested heavily in land servicing infrastructure for residential as well as commercial purposes. We have invested heavily in housing, and it has been a very positive and really rewarding experience. As a pension fund of which the civil servants are the principal contributors, we felt it necessary that we must provide housing for them, but at the same time you have a secure income stream that come your way. And the returns are phenomenal. It has been really, really good. It's a matter of how do you structure these kind of things. And also know precisely and acquire the specialized knowledge that is necessary to affect a positive return. As a pension fund, obviously, we are long-term focused, and infrastructure is, to us, ideal. Obviously, you need to do your homework so that you invest in the infrastructure that gives you the necessary cash flow as well as the revenue stream that is required to keep you going in your long-term journey with those kind of investments. So generally, it has been a positive experience. And we just did last week a review of our asset and liability model to see where do we adjust in the context of the changing circumstances globally, as well as regionally and also at home. And the main focus right now is, yes, we remain with equity. It has yielded as well. But there you also need to be properly diversified so that you do not find yourself trapped one way or the other. And to be in different asset classes, but at the same time in different regions. And, but we are focusing a little bit more on the property side and infrastructure as a way to give us the necessary returns and security that we need. So in that context, I must say, currently, looking at the way things are, the US situation is fluid, if I may put it like that. You don't know what tomorrow holds. Different pronouncements come every other day. But at the same time, there are still good opportunities there. I was in New York. I think some of the colleagues here were there, and I saw some of our managers, and they told me precisely what is happening today. And they were expecting it, they are not surprised. But you must pick those assets that are immunized against any rhetoric and be able to survive whatever comes. So, and I think that is the way to go. We are in this business for the long term. But one thing is for sure, pension funds and sovereign wealth funds have become major investors. In Namibia, I think we are the biggest investor in that market. If you take that, currently we have about 42% of our fund value in the unlisted as well as listed space there. It means that we are the biggest investor in that market. And it remains so, I think, in other markets as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.